is our first video in our automation testing tutorials. The first thing we're going to have to do is to download some files. Then we are going to start to do our first automation script. The first file we have to download is called Selenium Server Standalone. It's a jar file. It has a library that enables Eclipse, our IDE, to do our automation test, like opening a specific browser, finding a specific element, clicking on a button. We are going to do this now. This file we have to download it from seleniumhq.org. Now we click on download and click on this one. Then we are going to download another file called Chrome driver. We're going to Google search and just type in Google Chrome driver. You're going to find this chromedriver.chromium.org website. Now then download the latest release. Make sure you download the one for your operating system, if you have a Mac or a Linux or a Windows. Now the last thing we're going to have to download is our IDE, the Eclipse. Then go download and then download the most updated one. This is the IDE that we use to write our Java code. After we download it, it's going to be a file that looks like this. This is a file. After we open it, it's an installer. It will take some time to download the application itself because the file we just downloaded is just, as I mentioned, is an installer. So it will take some time to download the rest of the files. So you just open it and choose Eclipse IDE for Java developers and click on install and give it some time. It will download many files, so it will be dependent on your internet speed. Then it's gonna look like this on your desktop. This is one of the files that we're going to download. So as a total, we have 3 downloaded files. One of them is zipped. When you extract it, we have the Chrome driver. So this is the 3 files that we just downloaded. We need to download it before we start anything. Now we need to open Eclipse that we just downloaded and installed. And we can choose our workplace. We can leave it as a default. Then click on launch. It will take some time. Now go to File, New, Java Project. Now let's call it our first automation test. Before anything, we need to put the Chrome driver files that we downloaded in the root of our project, and also put the jar file, the Selenium Server Standalone, in the root of the project as well. Make sure it's the root of the project. Now right click on the jar file, build path, then add to build path. And now on the source, go new, class. Let's call it login page test, because this is what we're going to do. We're going to do some tests on a login page on a specific website. Now let's create a function, public void. Let's call it test login. Okay, now let's go back and see the website that we are going to do our automation practice on. The website is called automationpractice.com. What we want to do is go to sign in, and then fill up the email address and leave the password empty and just click on sign in, and we need to verify that this error message is shown properly. We're going to make a test that verifies this error message shows properly. So the first thing we want to do is open the website itself, which is Automation Practice. And also the test, as I mentioned, is going to test leaving the password field empty. So let's call the function missing password field. And now first we need to initialize the object and declare the object for the WebDriver. So let's call it WebDriver, driver equal new Chrome driver. Okay, now we need to hover with the mouse on WebDriver and import the WebDriver to Selenium, and do the same with Chrome driver. Now let's make another function, driver dot get. Let me explain something. Driver that we just declared in the above line, it's like it has all the keys for the browser or the web page. If you paid attention, there is a function called driver.get. This function, you just put in the website name, it will give a signal or an order to the browser and ask it to open the website. Let's assume this driver is like the browser itself. So when you go to driver.get, it's like we're giving an order to the browser to open the website. Now let's try to run. As you see, it just failed because we didn't tell the class itself if it's a web application, mobile application, or what is it. So we need to tell it that it's a test application. Okay, because as you know, with the Java code, you can have many runners. So go to help and go to Eclipse Marketplace. Make sure you have testng installed. It has to be installed. If it's not installed, install it. It will take like 20 minutes to be installed. Now put in this annotation and then add testng library. JUnit 4 and JUnit 5 could work, but we are only using testng library for this project, so make sure you choose it. So add testng library. Now hover one more time on the test and add its import. Now let's try to run now. Now make sure you have Google Chrome installed on your machine before anything, okay? Because this is what we're using for our tests. Perfect, it opens the website. If it had any issues, okay, if the previous code did not work, make sure you put this new line. I didn't put it because I didn't need it, but you might need it. It's basically a line that set a property called webdriver.chrome.driver, and then it points it to the Chrome driver.exe, the file that we copied it in the root of the project in the early stage on the video. Now, the next step we want to do is we want to click on sign in. So we just open the website now. Now we need to create another function to open the website. Now right click and inspect on the sign in button. And as you see, when you hover with your mouse, it highlights the element that we are hovering on. This is the HTML code of this element. So when you right click and inspect, it automatically have it highlighted, as you see. Yes? So this is the HTML code. There are many ways we can get a location for an element, and each element has many locations. So let's now get an XPath. Copy XPath. This is one of the locations for any element. It's called XPath. Now let's detect this element by its XPath. We just driver to find the element and paste in our XPath. Okay. Now dot. We want to click on this button that we just found with this XPath. So let dot click. Let's try to run. It should open the website on the and click on the sign in button. Perfect. Click on the sign in. Now the next step that we want to do is we want to fill up this password, this email address field. Now right click and inspect. We need to get the location of this element as well. So as you see, it has something called ID. And instead of XPath, let's try to find this element by ID. As I mentioned, each element has many locations, so we just try the XPath, and this time we're going to try to find the location by name. Let's put the ID, the email. This time we want to send keys, set some text. We don't want to click it, so we're going to find a function called send keys and just put in any email address, but it has to be like an email address format. Now let's try to run. You're gonna click on sign in. It's gonna fill up the email address. Perfect. It filled up the email address text box. Now we need to click on sign in so that the error above would show. We need to click on the sign in button. Now right click and inspect on that button. As you see, now we are inside the text of the button. We need the button itself. So let's go up a bit. If you see, this button has an ID and it also has a name. So let's try to find this button with this new location, which is name. So not all these locations would work, but let's choose the name for now. I will show you later in the future how to use these locations better. So let's go to driver, to find element by name, because as I mentioned, we found the name property in the element, so we can choose it this time. But you can see many properties that we can find the element with. So now we got the element by name. Let's go by name and paste the name and dot click. Because this is a button, we need to click it. Yes. Let's try to run. You should open the website and it should click on sign in, then fill up the email address and click on sign in. Perfect. We need to verify this error. We made all the steps, but now we need to validate that this error message shows when you leave the missing password, the password field empty. Let's inspect the password field, the password error message, and right-click copy XPath. Make sure that wherever the mouse is, it hovers on the password is required text label above. So after we took the XPath, we go and go driver to find element by XPath and paste our XPath. This time is gonna be different. We did the click and the send keys earlier. We need this time to get the text inside this label. So we'll find a function called getText. This function returns a string. This string we need to put it in a variable. So let's declare a variable called string. Let's call it missing password error message. So the text is gonna come. It's gonna be put in this variable. Now we need to verify that the error message that was found on the page is exactly what we expected. So there's a function called assert equals. It takes actual and the expected. The actual is what we actually found with the missing password error message that we got earlier, and the expected is what we are expecting, the error message that we are expecting to come. So when we have a test case that comes from the manual team, there's always expected and actual results. So we are expecting a specific message, and we want to verify that this expected message is what is actually shown on the browser itself or on the website. So we can take this expected message here from here, copy, and let's copy and paste it in the expected password is required. Let's try to run. It will compare these two values to each other. They have to be identical. If you had any issues with the assert equal functions, just hover with the mouse and make sure you import its imports. So if they are not equal, it's going to fail. They have to be 100% typical. Okay, it failed. Let's see why it failed. Let's scroll up. As you see, they are a bit different. They are not exactly equal because what it actually found was password is required. It has a dot at the end. You see? So what he actually found on the browser, it has a dot. Let's see. Yes, it's true. It has a dot at the end. So let's put a dot at the end. Let's try to run. It should pass this time. Okay, it passed. Perfect. So we finished our first video today. Next video we're going to learn how to organize our video a little bit, and we're just gonna increase a function or another to function based on what we learned today. That's it. See you next time.